Today we're going to talk about estrangement, and that is the secrets silence keeps. This is my end silence story on estrangement, and absolutely we're going to have some parental estrangement in there for sure, and sibling, cousins, uncles, all of that. Going to have some adult child silence and the hollow, undescribable pain of losing a child and grandchildren, for sure. So this is not where my story begins. Not by a long story. Um, Generally, even as a child, I always used stories to help understand or adapt to things that doesn't make sense when you're a child. You don't understand why these things are happening. Why is your mom with a different man all the time? Why are there 5 husbands? What, just lots of whys. That's a different story. So when I tell you this in the form of a story, it's not because this is make believe, because it's absolutely not. It's a true story, but it's because my mind is able to process things and deal with them, in a safe way that doesn't destroy me. So let us begin. So once upon a time, there was a little girl. And the little girl learned that family did not always mean love or safe or kind or compassionate or caring or any of those things at all. Actually, what family meant for that little girl was you will be manipulated. You will do what I want. You will bend to my will. And I didn't bend very well. And as the story goes, for this little girl, she learned that if she just stayed quiet and away, tried to stay far away from adults, that her world would be better all the way around. That's what she tried to do. She tried to stay alone almost for her whole life. It didn't work because of the traumas that the little girl endured. It caused other things to go wrong in her autistic brain. By the way, she didn't know she was autistic in this story. All she knew is that she couldn't do anything right. All she knew is that she hurt deeply and she wasn't allowed to have emotion or express it. All of those things that a normal child and even adult, when you're in a loving family or home, they care. I digress. So the point is, I learned, the little girl also in the story learned, that if you wanted to survive, you had to be on your guard at all times, uh, for lots of reasons. But when you have a parent who is able to disengage from you as a child, again, it does your brain a little different. So long before I even knew what the word was, and before I had it happen to moi, I was exposed to it. My mother had written off her mother, her sisters, other people in the family. If they weren't useful, or they couldn't be manipulated, then you didn't need them. And if they knew the real story. Makes sense, right? So if you can't be controlled, you're removed. If you know too much, you're the villain. So there was drinking, there was affairs and adult things that should have never impacted a child. I was a child. The little girl in the story is a child. So I didn't have the words to describe the spiritual weight of the secrets and the things that I was exposed to, but my soul knew that something was wrong. So there were nights that I felt completely alone, hopeless. The weight of life, of never feeling like anything was ever going to change, and your whole life you felt destined to be doomed because there's something wrong with you. Your whole family thinks so. So it must be true. So at 12, I had to make a decision whether to go back into a dangerous situation with my mother and her brother, who was, liking me, and things of that nature. So I opted out. I was like, absolutely not. We don't want to go back into a situation where there's going to be a lot of nonsense going on. I had enough sense to know that. And at that point, my mother, made sure that was my decision. And then she had my father pick my stuff up and told her family I had died. And to her, I'm sure I had died, because I didn't do what she wanted. I did what I thought was right, which is what I always did. But this was a more extreme version of that. So I grew up, as we all do. And I carried the wreckage of a lifetime of abuse and isolation and mental, like, warfare, spiritual warfare. And I really didn't know what to do for a lot of my life, because I thought the problem was me. So I kept trying to look to fix me. There's obviously something wrong with me. Again, if everybody thinks so, I'm open to let's take a look at this. And, I'm looking at you, self, and really see what's going on. And as much as I didn't want to repeat the mistakes of my mother, I was brought up in such an environment. The estrangement is just one part of it, and the psychological damage that it did, to have a mother just snap and you're gone. So I think we are going to have a part two. We'll make it happen and we'll finish this up. But it's a big deal. If you have a story, endsilence.net, we would love to hear it.